So I made a video about Crashbox a while ago. That got me thinking about other shows I watched on HBO Family as a kid, which wasn't many. I only saw Crashbox in the show I'll be talking about today. The show in particular was called A Little Curious. Just like Crashbox, however, this show didn't get much of a run, only lasting from 1999 to 2000. But in that short time span, the goal of the show was to be educational? It kinda was. But what else did the show have to offer? Well, let's go back and look at the short-lived yet still somewhat memorable run of A Little Curious.
Jed, are you?
Control.
Side.
Okay.
And now for our feature presentation.
A Little Curious made its debut on HBO Family on February 1st of 2000. The show was created by Steve Oakes and was produced by Curious Pictures. The best way I can describe A Little Curious is a variety show. It's not your typical show with continuous storylines and character arcs. In fact, it's not really a standard episodic series. Each episode is made up of a series of short segments that usually have to do with the same subject. That's where the educational portion of the show comes in. Every episode is focused on 3 different words and terms, which are also used as the episode's titles. For example, episode 2 of the series is called Light, Dark, and Bubble. Each segment features something that has to do with the terms. As for the structure, this show is very similar to Crashbox, but whereas Crashbox had human characters, A Little Curious does not. Every character is inanimate in the show. All sorts of objects and items make up the main cast of the show, which we'll get to in a minute. A Little Curious managed to get 2 seasons with a total of 43 episodes. It's not a lot, but to be honest, I didn't expect a show like this to get that far anyways. Now onto the characters. The main character is named Bob the Ball. He's a red ball who's essentially the child of the cast, though he's not the only one. He's full of energy and just likes to go wherever his imagination takes him. Also, I know that I refer to him as the main character, but honestly all the characters are equally given enough screen time, though Bob is the one who does the main introduction, so I've just been calling him the lead character. Next up is Mr. String. Pretty self-explanatory. He's a piece of string that can shapeshift into different things. He's essentially the Squidward of the group, always tired, anxious, and grouchy, but he's still good friends with everyone. Then there's Little Cup. He's another one of the young characters. He spends most of his time hanging out with Bob. I could never tell if the fruit punch inside is what kept him alive or not, or is it soda? I don't know, they changed it a few times. He was also voiced by the late Bob Caliban, who passed away in 2020. Next is Mop, one of the 5 female characters in the show. Mop is generally the one who looks after characters like Bob and Little Cup. She's very enthusiastic about music and other common trends in the late 90s to early 2000s. Her dynamic with Mr. String was fun to watch as well, as she brings energy and excitement into Mr. String's usually boring life. Then there's Plush, a plush toy of a dog with different colors. He's just kinda there. Plush is not exactly smart, so he's always getting into some kind of trouble. On to Doris the Door. She's one of the older characters in the show. Much like Mop, Doris is always keeping an eye out for Bob and Little Cup. She also spends a lot of time reminiscing about her past, usually childhood memories. So, doors can age. What does a kid door look like? Is it just a dog door? I'm asking very stupid questions. Anyways, Doris is definitely one of the better characters. I literally found out what an egg cream is thanks to one of the Doris segments, so I at least learned something from the show. Then there's Pad and Pencil. They're a couple, and that's all I can really say about them. And lastly, the Shoe family. They consist of Mr. and Mrs. Shoe and their 2 daughters, Lacey and Mary Jane. They do standard family stuff together while also being friends with everyone else. What if Black Air Forces were in the show? Also, Bob, Doris, Lacey, and Mary Jane are the only characters with normal names. Just some useless information for you. Now, there weren't any human characters in the segments with the main cast, at least. However, the show did have some short live-action segments that featured people doing something related to the episode's topics. But outside of that, nothing else. Now on to the plot of the show. Aside from the words being the topic of the episodes, there really isn't a consistent plot. Each segment is different from the other, which means the plot constantly changes. That is to be expected, as this is more of an anthology series than anything else. Very similar to something like Robot Chicken, except for a younger audience. The main standout of each episode, in my opinion, was the songs. Every episode had music videos dedicated to one of the main characters, and some of them were pretty good. I think my favorite was the Mop song. There were also some non-character songs as well. It wasn't just songs dedicated to characters either. The show made whole episodes about some of them. These episodes were called character shows, basically a clip show for one character. However, they didn't make episodes for all of the cast. The only ones to get character shows were Bob, Plush, and Mop. Not sure why this was the case. As for the main segments themselves, some were more memorable than others. I think my favorite segment as a kid was the one called Undercover Cup. It's a segment about Bob and Little Cup being detectives while trying to find a cookie. Bob eventually finds it and eats it. I also like the segment called Bob on a Roll. It's just a song where Bob rolls down a hill and there's cows? Cow balls? Don't Google that. And the Do the Noodle song was kinda catchy.
Get off your caboodle, let loose, and do the noodle.
But that's all I can really say about the plot. Here's the part I think most people were waiting on, and so was I. We have to talk about the show's animation. My god, this is where the show absolutely shines. There are so many different styles of animation used in this show that I can't even remember all of them. CGI, 2D, stop motion, and even different types of 2D animation alone. I'm a huge fan of shows that diversify their styles, so this was perfect for me. People are always going on about Gumball's art styles. This show walked so that Gumball could run, and I will not hear otherwise. Both Crashbox and A Little Curious stood out for their unique styles. Really makes me wonder what the budget was for these shows. While it was great, the animation itself wasn't perfect, mostly the CGI, but I can overlook it since it was 1999 and Pixar didn't make this, so I knew the CGI wasn't going to be the best. And some of the 2D animation is very clearly missing frames. No big deal though. But yeah, if there's anything that gave this show strength, it definitely was the animation. Well done. So, how did the show end? Well, as I mentioned earlier, the show only got 2 seasons before HBO decided to pull the plug. The final episode would air on May 1st of 2000, titled Drop, Loose, Change. I wonder if that was intentional. The show only had one special, called A Little Curious About Life. But once the show ended, there were no plans for a renewal. That doesn't mean it hasn't been rerun, because boy has it ever. Reruns of A Little Curious have been on TV as far as 2020 from what I heard. And it's on HBO Max, of course. I never saw the original run of the show as I didn't even exist in 1999, but thanks to on-demand services with cable television, I was able to watch all of the episodes as a kid. In my opinion, I think A Little Curious was exactly what it needed to be. Chances are it would have suffered from seasonal rot pretty quickly had it gone on for much longer. In the end, A Little Curious was a simple show with a simple premise, and had a unique style to help further its legitimacy. Let me know what you guys thought of this show down in the comments. And that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. You can also support me by following me on Blue Sky, where I post artwork, and my TeePublic store for merch. Both are linked in the description. Stay tuned for more videos.